Hey guys, and welcome back to the finale of Sonic Mania. I was actually a little bit, I don't want to say underwhelmed, but I wasn't surprised that Metallic Madness made it in. I don't know why, maybe I'm just clairvoyant, maybe I just expected this to happen. Everything happens for a reason, after all, but I don't know, maybe I'm just butthurt that Quartz Quadrant didn't make it in as a proper level. Flame, what did you think of Metallic Madness, mate?
Well, going back to what I was saying about why I would have been cool with Metropolis in, I kind of wish they'd used Wacky Workbench instead of this, because like Wacky Workbench is the go-to this level is bad level from CD, and for good reason, even though I still enjoy it for my I'm getting trolled here sort of sense of humour to the thing.
Yeah.
But like I think that there's interesting gimmicks in Wacky Workbench which they could have used rather than like I never really liked Metallic Madness. It's kind of a weak ending to like CD, and I really don't like this double layer thing because it gets kind of hard to see where Sonic is when he's in the background because he goes like it's the sprite was not made to be resized to that size, and it completely throws off his proportions, and it makes his sprite work look jaggy as well, which I'm not a fan of that kind of thing in pixel art, and it's not the most riveting level design in the first place, so I'm not really that big on this. Like the ending, and you'll notice this might be a trend of when I talk about this and the final level, I think Mania sort of drops the ball at the end.
There's a notable point where the quality, it dips down from like a 9 to an 8.5, and spoilers, that's probably going to be my score for the game, because Mania is well made, it's filled with tons of like references, it's well polished and whatnot, but there's certain things we haven't mentioned, like its delight in just crushing the player. Like I think I got crushed more in Mania than I ever have in another 2D Sonic game, so maybe the collision had some issues, I don't know, I'm just nitpicking at this point.
See, I don't think that's an engine problem. I think that's a problem solely oversights on the level design, because if you compare like the crushes here, a lot of the time when you get crushed, it feels like what crushed you wasn't intended to be a crusher like obstacle. It feels like it was just, it happened because of where things were. Whereas if you compare that to, like, say, and I can't believe I'm defending this fucking piece of shit, but, like, Advance 3, when it tries to crush you, it tries to crush you. So it feels more intentional. Anyway, Final Zone, little throwback here.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Like, the bosses of Metallic Madness are fine. The level itself is pretty fun. Like, I think I had more fun here than I did in CD. And the music is great, because I'm not entirely sure if you'll even be able to make this out if you listen to the non-com version of this, but Act 1 has someone like doing a diss track, and I'm pretty sure Act 2's theme is the response to that diss track.
The fuck? Oh, they were really getting ahead of the YouTube game with that. But yeah, it's fairer than Final Zone on account of you can get rings. Obviously, Tom came in here with Super, so they've all gone now.
Yeah, it's just like my original Japanese animes.
Yeah, but like it does have this extra phase where all the pipes start going completely haywire, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's all I have to say. Richie, you got anything to say before we finish the select?
No, not really. This is just quite fun.
Okay, cool.
That's basically it.
It gets an it's fun out of 10. Cool.
I mean, that's the best way to rate video games, really. Like, you can argue technical specs and, just how well made a game is until the cows come home, and then you can critique how tasty the cow is when it's made into a burger. But if the game isn't fun, then who cares how well it's made?
No, but you see, games don't have to be fun. You're not appreciating the artistic vision.
How about you just eat a dick and go to hell for not appreciating Monsieur Cage's vision of wanting to cover abuse and neglect without asking any questions, without doing anything with that subject and source material. He just wants to make robots and ask questions. He doesn't want the answers.
That's going to be such a shit show, I can't wait.
Oh yeah, like, I think I said this on Twitter, but like I could occasionally give David Cage a pass for being a tool, but a tool who makes occasionally entertaining games with interesting set pieces, but he went total 100% retard when he was giving those interviews. Like, holy shit, man, hide your power level.
Yeah.
And it's the sort of thing of like, when you're covering like sensitive subjects in any form of medium, like, I'm cool with basically anyone doing that, except the one person I can trust to fuck it up is David Cage.
Pretty much. And the thing that I found oh, that is adorable. The thing that I found particularly hilarious about said interview was that he was just like, would you ask the same question to a film director or a writer?
Yes!
Yes, I would. So it's just like, rein it back in, mate. You're not special.
Oh, well, back to Metallic Madness, I suppose, are the sacrifices we have to make not being able to talk about David Cage 24/7. This is a lot harder than it might look when you're Supersonic, because you're slipping and sliding all over the place.
Yeah, I had noticed that. This seems particularly challenging if you're Supersonic.
Although what they've done here is that they knew that everyone sort of skipped these sections in CD.
Yeah.
So instead of just having it slowly crawling down, they make you get in place and then just drop it so you can't sort of cheat ahead.
I don't know whether I like that or not. I mean, part of me enjoys the fact that you're given a visual aid for where it's coming down, but another just hates being instantly crushed to death. I think it's just my innate fear of dying, really. Oh, hold up, I'm getting an idea for a Polygon article. I think I'm going to hit it big this time.
Oh, Jesus.
Is it going to include putting New Super Mario Bros. U as the best Mario game of all time?
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh my god.
It was good, but I was offended. 7 out of 10.
Okay. Eggman's Gashapon machine is amazing. Look, you've got like the Marble Zone boss,
God.
you've got the Emerald Hill boss, you've got the Amy doll for some reason. So she's technically like, this is a CD level after all, so you had to have Amy in here somewhere.
Although it would have made more sense in Stardust Speedway where she actually appeared, but still.
Whatever. Tomato, tomato. And to finish off, oh my god, Tiny Supersonic is so cute. There we go. We got the Eggman himself. Oh, he's going right on my wall.
That's just so cute! I've kind of gone full squee mode.
There you go, there you go. Well, one of us had to at some point during Sonic Mania. That's a surprisingly short level, like both acts included.
It is, but then the next one's gonna completely fuck that over.
Titanic Monarch, our final zone of the game. I was cold on this at first, but it's grown on me, and I'd actually say this might be one of my favourite final levels in a 2D Sonic game.
No. Just no, I really do not like Titanic Monarch. Like, there's so many irritating things here. There's like these sort of swinging, glowing orb thing mechanic that's annoying. This is probably the most offensive with bullshit crusher sections as well.
Yes,
and then there's them lightning things that just go up whenever the fuck they feel like it, and sometimes they come up or down from off screen, which is really irritating. I just don't like this, and it goes on way too long as well. It really outstays its welcome.
I get that last complaint. The rest of it, I think, you know, it's a divisive, like, level mechanic. Obviously, we have these things here from one of the Sonic 3 bonus stages. They can be a bit annoying if you don't know how to operate them correctly, but, I don't know, I just came to appreciate it. Like, I mean, it's better when you can just blast through it with Super Sonic, but, as is, I think it's pretty fun. It does highlight one of the things that I took issue with in regards to Mania at first. This is also adorable, by the way, in that Mania loves to propel you forward, like, a lot of the time, and for a game with so much exploration and like alternate routes and whatnot, occasionally, not always, occasionally it feels counterproductive in a way that people criticize the boost games for being like hold forward to win, or like Advance 2 for being hold right to win, and it kind of resulted in me not finding many of the secret rings, and you know, not being able to get Supersonic before I finished the game the first time. And I don't know. I don't want to call it bad level design or bad game design, because I'm having fun when I'm blasting through these levels. These are well designed and well made levels with only the occasional drop in quality. You know what I'm talking about. It starts with M and ends with Iraj Saloon, etc., etc. But I like Titanic Monarch a lot, and I also really dig the music.
Yeah, it's another song that like I'm not that fond of. Like it's not bad, it's just not as memorable as some of the others. Like I'll go back to like Studiopolis or whatever before this. That's a section that can be a bullshit crush, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Because if you dart forward through that, then you're getting crushed by them spikes, and it's more annoying when you get sort of clipped by the edge of the spikes. And because like when you're directly underneath them, you think, okay, I fucked up. But like when it's just like a slight nudge on the side, and that's enough to kill you.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, give me a break here.
Now you might think this is a bit like what Richie mentioned earlier, like, oh, this is just Metallic Madness again, but the difference there is it's not another chemical plant, it's actually a giant robot we're like going on the outside and then the inside of.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that this actually does feel quite different to Metallic Madness, but I think that is purely because I'm looking at this and thinking this sort of reminds me of an Eggman Land-ish vibe rather than a kind of metal factory vibe, but which kind of sounds a bit peculiar because obviously the difference between Oil Ocean and Chemical Plant is kind of quite obvious and is a sort of similar thing, but I don't know, part of me is looking at this and thinking this is different enough to warrant it, but that could just be me being weird and not very, how shall I put it, consistent with my thought on that, but obviously that is going to happen when I've, not played the game.
It's fine, it's fine. I find these balls quite fun to roll around on, by the way. I know, maybe I'm just a sucker for that sort of level design. This, on the other hand, can go suck a dick.
Oh yes, the weird, funky, jump at the thing, avoid all these other things going all over the place. And, of course, gravity, which isn't going to be an issue, really. I don't recall when you have Supersonic. I think you can just make it. But when you're standard Sonic, you have to wait for the gravity to change to get a hit in. And it just really drags out the fight. I get what they're going for, and it's a good idea, but maybe that phase dragged out a bit long. Like, maybe if it was just, like, the first couple of hits like that, and then you went on to another phase, I'd be fine with that.
I will say, they capitalised on this really well by bringing it back in a, I wouldn't say meaningful way, but a way that makes sense in forces as a background element. Like, you don't fight it again, but it's there, and it makes sense in the context of why it's there. But my dislike for that boss mostly stems from I didn't really care for it in its original context in 3 and K, to be honest. I like the Phase 2 version of that boss, but now we get to a very interesting level, and once we get to the main hub of this place, I'll be able to tell you why, so let us enter the void.
Well, can I say I'm already just really loving the fact that there's a stained glass window inside this robot.
Oh, yeah.
That is like peak aesthetic.
It is. So basically, what we have to do is, there were 4 exits in that room we portaled into, and once we get to the end of each, a door will close, and once all 4 are closed, a portal to the boss will open. So it's just like you got to go through 4 different like set pieces in order to get there. Some of them are better than others. I wouldn't really be able to give you like a proper order of like which I like from best to least. I'll just point it out as we go along.
Well, that section with all the purple orb things, them things really do irritate me, because like sometimes you find yourself, especially when they're moving around you, it's another pace-breaking thing, which is always one of my points of contention with Sonic levels, but it can get a little bit fiddly, I find.
Alright, fair enough, mate.
But we're now waiting to not get shot here.
It's cool, man. It's cool. He had to die.
Let Tails take the bullet, it's fine.
This is the start of the Sonic Forces war, actually. Someone tried to assassinate Archduke Hedgehog and that just set in motion a trail of dominoes that's, kicked off the Great Mobian War. Nothing's fun about this vector. That's why it's called war.
Sonic never changes.
Actually, that is the most succinct and to the point, joke, quote-unquote, that we'll ever utter here. Oh, the Chaos Emeralds are in the background, on the stained glass. I never noticed that.
Yeah! Oh, that's awesome.
Alright,
Well,
geez.
speaking of backgrounds, what was most impressive to me is in Act 1 when you can see the crescent moon in the background. I love shit like that because it's like, I don't know, night levels always seem to have that certain vibe to them that I kind of quite appreciate the look of. Like, granted, when you're in, say, Unleashed, it's not so pleasant on the gameplay side of things, but still, the aesthetic goes well appreciated in my part.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I like the look of Titanic Monarch a lot, like the reds and the yellows, the greens, the purples, etc. It's just a very nice looking final level, in a way that a lot of final Sonic levels don't really go for. Like, you have Eggman Land, which, like Richie said, is kind of similar to this, but it's a lot darker, whereas the colours pop here in almost a Carnival Night Zone sort of way, but it works because it's still menacing, and the music goes really well with it.
Oh, definitely.
See, I'm not overly fond on loud colours like this. I think if they're gonna go that route, I would rather it be brighter, loud colours. Like, I guess this is going back to the Sonic 2's art style versus Sonic 3's art style thing. And, like, you compare this to Carnival Night. I don't like how Carnival Night looks. I think it looks like a more boring version of Casino Night. So I'm just going to keep talking to properly trigger Tom at this point. But, you know, it's just when I kind of see this sort of thing, I see it as overly contrasting and a bit of the assault on the eyes after a while, and possibly that's because of how long you're here. Because it's a long level and you're looking at, you know, the loud red and the loud yellow.
Oh boy.
Fuck these things.
Yep.
Fuck these things. They crush you when you're trying to just walk across from one to the other. There's a reason Tom's being really careful here.
Yeah, the trick to this is, when they first, like, crisscross each other, don't walk then. Wait for them to go all the way up or all the way down.
Because otherwise you'll get kind of pushed between them, and it ain't nice.
Man, sure aren't running out of lives anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's only a shame that you couldn't get up to 64 lives, because, you know, that would have just been... that would have been perfect.
Dude, I don't even have one life IRL. Like, I don't know how you think I'm going to reach 64 anytime soon.
Well, you need video game lives to compensate.
Oh yeah, I'm a real gamer. I don't have one life, I have many.
No, it's because you don't have one of the gamer caps. That's why you don't have a life.
I don't know whether we're going to equip that to the retake
Yes, we
Rooster.
You don't get a say in this. We are showing off the gamer cap because I really want to see us be real #gamers.
Well, you know, we could make a gamer cat. That is an option in game.
True. Yeah.
More of this bullshit round 2. You might think you're safe as... Oh my god. You might think I'm safe as Supersonic. Nope. He's just as vulnerable.
Probably even more vulnerable because you can't make these sort of subtle steps across from one to the other.
Which then makes me question, Tom, why did you decide to go Supersonic then, rather than wait until you were past the chaos?
I don't know.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Here's another crushing section. Just gonna get some blue rings over here.
I'm not too sure how I feel about the blue rings, because, like, the theory behind it is it makes it easier to pick them back up, but it also means there's fewer of them, so if they drift away from you, then it's even harder for some to scatter near you.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Although it kind of... This game is much more fair in that regard than having, like... It's both the Dimps ring physics and also it shows up like it in Forces, where they really scatter them far away from you.
Interesting fact here. The level goes on so long that they graciously decided to just put it back to 0 here, just so you don't, like, time over or anything.
You do need it, because especially if you're more the kind who's, like, looking for the special rings or just... You know, having a look at the different paths on that, you'll get to 9 minutes quite easy by the time you're here.
That's nuts.
2 things. Number 1, this is a Sonic CD boss done right. Like, I really enjoy this quote-unquote final boss. It is the final boss if you don't have the Chaos Emeralds. Number 2, the music is amazing. Like, it's so menacing but exciting at the same time.
I prefer the true final boss's theme, but it is pretty good in its own right there.
No, I'm going to have to disagree there. I think they dropped the ball with the true final boss. I don't think it's all that challenging, as we'll see. And I don't know, it feels a bit shallow, but let's beat Eggman's face in before we get to that.
Oh, one more getting at the music. Like, the music track is just, the theme there is just amazing in the final boss, but we'll see him in a minute. This boss I kind of do like. It's like you're cheating it with Supersonic, but even without it, like, just there's a pattern that you can pick up. It's mainly these subsections are actually more difficult. Like, that guy there can be kind of a pain in the ass if you're low on rings, but still.
I'm not entirely sure if you're meant to beat these guys, because sometimes I don't even touch them at all, and it just pulls me back.
I think it just wants you to dodge them, rather than necessarily take them out.
There's also, like, other, like, sections of that fight. Like, you can fight the Heavy Rider again, which I found interesting, because I've never seen that myself.
No, it seems very RNG as to which one it shows you.
There we go.
He's pathetic once he's lost his first one, and you can just sort of spin dashing while he's charging him.
Oh,
he doesn't stand a chance.
We're going into the void. Let's finish this game. Decided to bring the Chaos Emeralds with me. Never leave home without them. There's the Heavy King.
This you were saying, this isn't quite as fun as the regular final boss, but still.
Well, it's nice to see Robotnik just tool up with like a dishevelled Egomag and just try to go to town on that thing, and he just gets warped away. Alright, Flame, you can gush about the music now.
Yes, the Egg Reverie theme is so fucking fiction. It's got a lot of energy to it. I'm not sure whether it's like explicitly sampling Fist Bump or if it just sounds like it, but it's kind of got the same sort of melody to it in parts, and I love that. Fist Bump is bae, I don't even care.
Bless you. Alright, a reverie, a state of being pleasantly lost in one's thoughts, a daydream. Interesting, considering what we know about the Phantom Ruby now.
Yeah, I kind of like the fact that there is continuity between these two games. Like, they're so different in terms of gameplay styles, but they're just linked quite closely, and I like it.
So, how did you fare in regards to the boss's difficulty itself? Because it's basically a back and forth fight between the Heavy King and, Eggman. Like, you hit the Heavy King, and then Eggman comes in to just, like... I'm not even sure he can actually, like, hurt Supersonic. He just kind of batters you around, which I find kind of hilarious.
Well, them green attacks hurt Supersonic. What I found with this boss is that when I was actively trying, I fucked up. When I started jumping around aimlessly, I won.
Yeah.
So it's one of those kind of bosses, really.
What I really enjoyed is the fact you can go from, like, land to air as Supersonic. What I didn't like was the fact you can waste rings by accidentally boosting in the air. I don't know if that has any strategic value in the fight. Like, you can bust through the Heavy King's shield or whatever without having to wait. I don't know. Also, interesting bit of trivia. I think there were, like, stuff found in the file or whatnot to maybe suggest that this was going to be a proper level, but for whatever reason they just decided not to go with it.
Well, I suppose after, like, the fucking... whatever that last level was called that I've forgotten the name of already. Like, after you've done that, it's kind of tired you out and you want to go straight to the cool show, I find.
Yeah. By the way, yes, Fist Bump is part of this, and it officially ties into Sonic Forces. We all know this by now. It's not a spoiler. But I enjoyed this boss. It's one of the more shallow, Supersonic final fights in a 2D game. And, nothing's beating Doomsday Zone anytime soon. I don't think this even beats the Sonic Rush final boss, honestly. The presentation is nice, and the music is pretty good, so I'll give it that. Sonic Mania in a nutshell. It's a very well-made game. There are a few nitpicks here and there, and the fact it, mostly utilises old levels and only has 4 new ones is a bit of a letdown, but at the same time, it's still, the most well-made 2D game since 3K, and for that I'm thankful. What about you, Flame?
Yeah, I really enjoyed what we have here for Mania. I really hope that these guys do work on more 2D Sonic. I think, they're the right people to be working on this kind of project, and it really shows. I love Sonic Mania.
There you go. Richie?
It's definitely been an enjoyable experience to watch it. I think they did a very good job.
Okay, no, that's enough. You haven't got enough time. We haven't got enough time. We'll see you guys next time, right away, actually, for Sonic Forces, the continuation of the war.